going on, everybody? Welcome to AMA, Ask Me Anything. I'm Evan Centopani, and I'm your host for these next 20 or so minutes. But if you don't like me, there's other people to choose from, right? So there's Lee Priest, Antoine Vaillant, Guy Cisternino, Milo Sarchev, Chris Tuttle, James Hollingshead. What a group of guys to be able to access and ask them anything you want. So let's just dive right in, shall we? First question, inspired by a question you asked in Circles. So if anybody doesn't know Circles, Centopani Circles, it's a group chat on Telegram. It's myself, Guy Cisternino, Chris Tuttle, Antoine Vaillant, Lee Priest, Flex Lewis, Jay Cutler, John Call, also known as Juji Mufu, Jose Raymond. It's just a tremendous group of guys, all really, really good dudes, hilarious, a lot of information, and we're just constantly really just talking. Someone will pose a question, Frank McGrath, someone will pose a question, and we'll all weigh in on it, throw in our 2 cents. Maybe it's something we're debating. Maybe someone needs information. There's a lot of good stuff in there, both in terms of information and entertainment. If you're not on there, I would check it out. So this person, obviously a follower, and there's about 10,000 people who've subscribed to it so far. It's catching on. A lot of people aren't familiar with the app Telegram. They don't have it. So they've got to go and download it, and I get it. It's just another platform, but it's very, very unique. It's not like anything happening anywhere else, so it's definitely worth checking out. So the person says, what is the future? Where do I hope it will go? Really what I'm hoping is that more people will come over and take a look, because all the time, I'll get people commenting and say, man, I saw you talk about it. For whatever reason, I didn't do it. But once I checked it out, man, I wish I had done it sooner. It's awesome. It's hilarious. I think personally, it could really, really blow up, because this is a new thing, relatively new in the sense that social media can be a very powerful tool. I was around prior to social media. I saw the bodybuilding industry prior to social media, and there's a lot of shit that I can talk about social media. There's a lot of fucking losers on social media, okay? And not to say that there haven't always been a lot of losers, right? There's always been plenty of dipshits out there, and con artists, wannabes, delusional people. However, in the past, the only way that you received a platform, and the platform usually was the magazines. The only way you got a spot in a magazine was if you did well competitively, or you were really, really vetted, meaning people knew you were legitimate. Maybe somebody like, if this were 30 years ago, Dan Duchesne isn't a competitive bodybuilder, but he certainly could have been a viable contributor to a magazine, and a very worthwhile one. But there'd be a vetting process, and you would have to prove you're somebody, you know what the hell you're talking about. Now, on social media, or as a competitor, you were somebody, you did well on stage, that allowed someone to take a second look at you, you ended up in a magazine. There's 2 sides to all this, and I'm going to cover both sides. Nowadays, you got social media. Anybody can claim to be an expert on any subject. And when you look at people posing with cars that they don't own, in homes that they don't live in, wearing clothes, even clothes, okay, that could be rented, it's very easy for people to portray a lifestyle that is not their own, and therefore an image of success. And generally people assume that if you're successful, there's a good reason for that success. Geez, this person is doing this well, they can't be just some clown, right? They had to have done something to achieve that. They must know something. They must have a really profound talent. Not always the case now on social media. It becomes very, very easy to just appear as someone, right? You can buy likes, you can buy followers. You have to be careful. In my father's words, you believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. So, because even your own 2 eyes, you can't always believe what you're seeing. On the flip side of that, social media does allow for people who, because I had mentioned, right, in the past, if you were going to make your way into a magazine, the vetting process was either you do really, really well on stage, or you've got to know somebody, and then you're able to prove what you know, prove your talent. It still is going to come down to someone making a decision whether they want you in their magazine or not. Possibility of personal bias. Nowadays, there's a lot of people who have risen to really extreme levels of popularity, because when they speak, it becomes clear that they actually know what they're talking about. Now, they may be a shit bodybuilder. They may not have any, let's call them physical credentials, but it doesn't mean that they may not be extremely knowledgeable in one area or another, or some people are just pure entertaining. There's more possibility. You don't have to be a good bodybuilder to make it in the bodybuilding industry or the fitness industry. And again, like I said, there's 2 sides to that. It opens the door for a lot lot of fucking con artists and losers, and I'm going to sound like an old person using this word, charlatans. It does also open the door for a lot of really legitimate people. And the thing that you come to realize is that it is a powerful thing. The more people that you can reach, powerful, because you could spread a message. Hopefully it's a good message. Hopefully it's knowledge. With having another platform, for example, Telegram, which by the way is totally uncensored. There have been a lot of issues as of late in terms of on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. There is no doubt that there is a lot of censorship on social media, and there is someone or a team of people deciding what should be censored. And I'm not saying that there should be no censorship. That's not my position. But what I'm saying is it could be a really slippery slope, because how do you decide what gets censored, and is it left to some of the personal bias or an agenda of those who are in control? That is one of the benefits of utilizing Telegram. There's no censorship. We can say whatever we want. It's not like we're on there saying or doing anything dangerous. It's all good. It could become an avenue for anyone to come on, right? There's people in the industry. I'd love to just have them on for a day. Hey man, I'm going to make you an administrator on the channel for a day. Just come on, you can post videos, just come on and bullshit with us. So that's really what I envision, and it becomes like an ongoing, ever-present podcast that is totally spontaneous, that is entirely organic, and it's happening in real time, right? So if you were to log in right now, go on Telegram and go on the circles, there's probably somebody having something to say. And that's kind of cool. That's very different than what's going on anywhere else. And you have the ability to interact. You could write in, ask questions, the guys will address it. So it's very, very cool. It's an increased amount of access. And that's one of the things too that social media has done. I mean, if you think back 20, 30 years, there was the magazines, and maybe once in a while a bodybuilding show would end up on ESPN, probably late at night though, when you were likely to be sleeping. That was your opportunity to see bodybuilding. Your only opportunity to actually meet a bodybuilder or interact with one was, okay, if you go to a show, fly out there, maybe it's something in your area, stand in line, maybe you were able to get a picture with a guy, shake his hand, ask him a brief question. Social media made the world a whole lot smaller. A buddy of mine who's a photographer, I talk to him all the time. He's in Australia. You could talk to people all over the world. On Telegram, Lee's from Australia. James Hollingshead, he's on there. He's from the UK. Frank McGrath and Antoine are both from Canada. Flex Lewis and Jay are out west in Vegas. Tuttle's in Texas. You guys are all over the place. And social media enables that. That's pretty cool. I regularly post on Instagram. I mean, you guys are able to post this on here. I answer your questions. You interact with people. That didn't exist in the past. And that is a very, very cool thing. Someone who is maybe an opponent of that would say, well, yeah, the accessibility has increased, but the allure has just been decimated. So in the past, it was a big deal, man. If you were going to get a picture with a pro or have an opportunity to shake their hand, that was a big deal. Now it's just like, I go on Instagram and I'll just, maybe I'll talk shit to some guy. So the attitude, it's very different. But again, all in all, do I think it's a sum positive? I do, because the ability to communicate is a very, very valuable tool. All in all, social media, as much as sometimes it makes me cringe. You want to know what I think? I think that for a long time, people have been obsessed or enamored with the idea of celebrity, right? If you go back to the 1940s, the 1950s, people, the way that they would follow celebrities, the way that they were obsessed with celebrities, and the dreams and visions of Hollywood and stardom, that's always been present, right? Or people to dream about what it might be to be famous. So I think that has always been there. However, in the past, I think people knew their place much more. They didn't have these delusions of just being famous. And being famous for no other reason than, I don't know, pick your reason. Not a very good one. In the past, it was pretty much understood that if you were going to become famous or rise to this an extraordinary level of fame or wealth, that you generally had to do something really extraordinary to achieve it. I think really it was the Kardashians changed that. Because aside from Kim Kardashian, and I'll say she's very pretty, right? She's really, really pretty. And you could probably make an argument that she's a great businesswoman. How did she become famous? How did she get on everyone's radar? She got a pretty face. She made a sex tape. She doesn't possess any real talents. There's nothing that she's offering to mankind, at least that I'm aware of. Maybe I'm ignorant, but it's not like say, well, this is Kim Kardashian. She was at the forefront in this industry. Because of her hard work and talent, she rose to the top. And now that she's there, there, she's able to help others. She's providing information. I mean, I see a girl who has had a lot of cosmetic surgery done, and she's just become famous. There's been a cult following that has been developed. And again, I'm not saying that there isn't perhaps a very impressive amount of management and business acumen that's gone along with that, but it's very different, I think, than what we've seen in the past. And consequently, there's a lot of people. I almost immediately say women, but I think really it is men and women. They're going to become famous. They don't know why they're going to become famous or what gift it is they're going to give to the world, what they've done that would warrant their fame, but they're going to do it. They're going to go on social media. They're going to become famous. I can't tell you how many times I see, maybe a girl's account and she's got millions of followers. She can put her fucking legs behind her head, show you her camel toe and whatever, but that's it. And that's really different, again, I think, than what we've experienced in the past. And there's just endless and endless amounts of it. So again, there's that side, but then there's the side of social media where, man, there's a lot of people who are really fucking talented, whether it's musically, whether they're great entertainers, they are great teachers, they have an ability to spread positive information that can help people. And that is really, really awesome, because anytime you can spread information that saves people misguided effort, saves them time, saves them money, saves them potential heartache or even injury, that is a great thing. And social media does, no doubt, allow that. Yes, it could allow for the spread of misinformation as well. You could argue that it's dangerous in that regard, but by and large, I still think we're better with it because, again, it increases the ability for communication. It shrinks the world. It brings us together, hopefully. Telegram and Centopani's circles would just be another outlet to spread information, to help people, to serve as a source of entertainment. I see it growing infinitely. I'm sorry I rambled on so much about social media, but here we are. I mean, this is kind of a form of social media as well. As always, subscribe, send me your questions. I'll see you on Telegram, on Centopani Circles. I'll talk to you guys.